Afternoon. I want to talk about morality, which is the backbone of human coexistence and the foundation of a harmonious society. In a world that is increasingly driven by material ambition, technological advancement, and the thirst for personal success, one question continues to echo in every corner of human experience. What does it mean to live morally? Morality, which is a concept as ancient of humanity itself, forms the invisible thread that binds individuals, families, communities, and nations together. It is the unwritten law of conscience that guides human conduct and the international compass and points toward what is right, and a bridge between self-interest and social responsibility. Without morality, no society can sustain peace. That is a fact. Cannot sustain love and cannot sustain justice. Morality is not just a philosophical idea. It is a practical foundation upon which civilization stands. Every era that has ignored moral principle has eventually drowned in corruption, conflict, and chaos. From families to nations, morality defines how people live, how they relate to one another, and how they envision the future. It is therefore a duty for every generation to uphold moral values and pass them to the next with utmost care and intentionality. Definition of morality. Morality can therefore be defined as the set of principles, standards, and beliefs that guide human behavior in distinguishing right from wrong, good from evil, and justice from injustice. It is both a personal and social code, a system of values that shapes human actions and decisions. In philosophical terms, morality comes from the Latin word moralitas, meaning manner, character, or proper behavior. It is the ethical foundation that governs conduct within a community. From a religious perspective, morality is often perceived as divine law, a reflection of God's expectations of humanity, and in secular society, it may be seen as a collective conscience of the people, developed through reason, empathy, and social experience. In essence, therefore, morality is the unwritten constitution of the soul. It dictates what we should do even when no one is watching. It exists in the small daily choices: honesty over deceit, forgiveness over revenge, humility over pride, and love over hate. Without morality, human actions would be driven purely by desire, greed, or power. The importance of morality in society, that is, 1. Morality promotes social harmony and coexistence. At the core of human existence lies the need to coexist, because you cannot live alone. Morality is the lubricant that allows society's machinery to function smoothly. It ensures that despite differences in tribe, race, religion, or status, people can live together peacefully. When individuals act with respect, fairness, and empathy, society becomes a haven of cooperation rather than competition. Imagine a community without morality, where lies are accepted, greed celebrated, and violence normalized. Such a society will be a battlefield of selfishness. Morality therefore tames the world nature and human desire and replaces chaos with order. It teaches restraints, compassion and justice, the very ingredients of peaceful coexistence. Number 2, morality builds trust and integrity. Trust is a lifeblood of every relationship, whether personal or institutional. Morality upright society values truth and integrity. When people uphold honesty in a business, politics, education, and leadership, society prospers. Where morality dies, corruption thrives. Dishonesty erodes confidence in systems, breeds inequality, and destroys the foundation of development. Conversely, moral integrity restores hope in governance, justice in law, and fairness in opportunity. Morality as a foundation for justice. Number 3, justice cannot exist in a morally bankrupt society. The law may prescribe punishment, but only morality can instill conscience. It is morality that teaches people to choose what is right, not out of fear of law, but out of love and truth. In every society, therefore, where moral values are strong, justice becomes natural. People respect other people's rights, leaders serve selflessly, and institutions will function with transparency. Therefore, morality thus forms the heart of all sustainable justice systems. Number 4 is moral strengthens families. The family is the first moral school. Within the home, children learn right and wrong long before they enter classrooms or places of worship. Therefore, morality strengthens family ties through love, respect, and responsibility. When parents model moral behavior, they raise disciplined, compassionate children who later become moral citizens. A moral family produces upright generations. On the other hand, moral decay in families breeds disrespect, crime, and social disorder. Every nation's moral health begins at home. Number 5 is morality as a pathway to national development. Economic and social development cannot thrive in a morally decayed environment. Corruption, favorism, dishonesty, and greed derail national progress. True development is not measured by building or infrastructure alone, but by the moral quality of its people. A morally upright citizen values accountability, hard work, and fairness. Such values lead to efficient governance, reduced corruption, and equitable growth. Kenya, Africa, and the world at large must recognize that morality is the mother of sustainable development. So why morality must be taught to future generations? Every generation is shaped by the moral values it inherits. When morality is neglected, societies produce citizens who are intellectually advanced but ethically bankrupt. People who may invent machines but destroy humanity in the process. The moral decline of a people begins the day they stop teaching morality to their children. By 1, morality preserves human dignity. Future generations must understand that every human being has inherent worth and must be treated with respect. Teaching morality ensures that people value human life, justice, and equality. It creates a generation that respects women, protects children, and values peace over violence. Then morality prevents cultural decay. Culture without moral foundation degenerates into chaos. A global influence grows. Young people are exposed to diverse ideologies that can easily erode traditional values. Teaching morality helps them discern right from wrong and preserve their identity amidst modernity. Morality shapes leadership. The leaders of tomorrow are the children of today. Teaching morality molds leaders who will govern with honesty and compassion. A society that neglects moral education will raise leaders who exploit rather than serve. Then morality reduces crime and immorality. When young people internalize moral discipline, they resist peer pressure, greed, and criminal behavior. Morality becomes their shield against corruption, drug abuse, and violence. It is cheaper and wiser to build morals in children than to build prisons for adults. Custodians of moral teachings. Morality does not exist in isolation. It is nurtured and transmitted through key institutions in society. The custodians of moral instruction include parents, schools, religious leaders, the media, and governments. Each plays a sacred and irreplaceable role in shaping the moral fabric of humanity. 1. Parents, the first moral teachers. At home, or rather the home is the first classroom of life, and parents are the first moral instructors. Children learn not just from words but from observation. A father's integrity, a mother's compassion, and a family's unity become moral blueprints of children. Parents who teach honesty, respect, and responsibility raise children who grow into disciplined citizens. In contrast, moral neglect at home breeds rebellion, disrespect, and moral confusion. Parenting must therefore return into intentional moral training, guiding by example, not mere instructions. Number 2 is school, the academic custodian of ethics. Education without morality produces clever devils. Schools have the duty to shape both the mind and the heart. Teachers must inspire discipline, honesty, and respect alongside intellectual learning. Subjects like civic education and life skills should emphasize ethical decision-making and community values. When schools become moral incubators, they produce professional guided but by greed, but by conscience, doctors who care, judges who are fair, and politicians who will serve. Number 3 is religious leaders, that is the guardians of spiritual morality. Religion has always been the soul of morality. Across all faiths, moral teachings promote peace, justice, and compassion. Humanity. Religious leaders, therefore, have a divine obligation to mold moral purity and guide fellows towards righteousness. However, when religion becomes commercialized or politicized, its moral power weakens. Religious institutions must return to their core purpose, shaping hearts, defending truth, and promoting social ethics above personal gain. Number 4 is the media, which is the shapers of modern morality. The media, both traditional and digital, wields immense power in shaping public perception and behavior. Unfortunately, modern media often glorifies immorality, materialism, violence, and sensuality. Yet it can also be a tool for moral renewal. Through documentaries, educational programs, and responsible journalism, the media can promote honesty, integrity, and compassion. It should not only entertain, but also enlighten. Media houses must recognize their social responsibility to shape a morally conscious generation in this digital era. Then number 5 is the government, that is policy custodian of morality. A morally upright government sets a tone for moral nation. Laws that promote justice, equality, and accountability reflect the moral health of leadership. When leaders lead by example, refusing corruption, that is one, defending truth, and promoting social welfare, they inspire citizens to follow suit. Governments must therefore institutionalize morality through education, curricula, anti-corruption measures, social programs, and public accountability systems. Moral governance is the foundation of nations' prosperity. We have challenges in transmitting morality across generations. Despite the timeless importance of morality, modern society faces immense challenges in preserving and passing moral values from one generation to the next. By one, the erosion of family structure. In many societies, the traditional family unit, once the cradle of moral upbringing, is weakening. Broken homes, absentee parenting, and neglect of family values leave children morally unguided. Without parental discipline and affection, moral confusion reigns. Then influence of modern technology and media. The digital revolution, while beneficial, has also exposed young people to immoral content at an alarming rate. Social media platforms often glorify vanity, greed, and materialism. The virtual world has become a silent teacher, sometimes louder than real parents or teachers. Moral relativism. Modern philosophy increasingly promotes moral relativism, the idea that there is no absolute right or wrong, only personal opinion. This belief erodes universal moral standards, leading to confusion and moral compromise. Without a shared moral compass, society becomes a market of ethics, where truth is negotiable and values are disposable. Corruption and poor leadership. When leaders lack morality, citizens lose faith in justice. Corruption in institutions sets a dangerous precedent, teaching the youth that success comes through shortcuts. The moral failure of those in power poisons the moral integrity of entire generations. Then we have commercialization of religion. When religion becomes a business, morality becomes a product. The rise of fake prophets, self-serving preachers, has diluted spiritual values. Instead of being moral beacons, some religious institutions now mirror the creed they should condemn. Then we have peer pressure and culture dilution. Globalization has blurred cultural boundaries. Many traditional African values of respect, humility, and communal living are slowly fading. Youths now imitate foreign lifestyles that prioritize pleasure over purpose. Peer pressure amplifies the loss of morality or rather moral identity. How to restore this and strengthen morality? 1. Rebuild the family as a moral foundation. Families must reclaim their central role in moral education. Governments and communities should support family empowerment programs. Parents must practice what they preach, spend time with their children, and cultivate honesty, empathy, and discipline at home. 2. Integrate moral education in schools. This is very key because this is where children spend most of their time. Moral instruction must be systematically included in the curriculum. Teachers should be trained not just as educators but as moral mentors. Schools should emphasize civic responsibility, ethics, and community service to shape responsible citizens. Promote ethical leadership. Leaders must model integrity, strict anti-corruption measures, transparency, and merit-based systems should guide governance. When leaders lead by example, citizens will follow. Moral leadership is not about popularity, it is about principle. Use media for moral enlightenment. Media organizations should develop content that propose or rather promotes ethical values, stories that inspire honesty, documentaries that teach responsibility, and shows that highlight integrity. Social media influencers must also use their platforms for positive impact. Then revive true religious teachings. Faith institutions should return to authentic moral teachings, honesty, humility, service, and love. Religious leaders must denounce corruption and greed while modeling the virtues they preach. Religion should unite humanity under moral truth, not divide it through hypocrisy. Then number 6 is community-based moral movements. Communities should organize moral mentorship programs, youth dialogues, and cultural renewal initiatives. Moral revival should be a social movement, not just a classroom lesson. Then encourage global moral dialogue. In an interconnected world, nations must cooperate in promoting universal moral values. Respect for life, justice and equality, and also compassion. International organizations should advocate moral education as strongly as they do to technology and economics. In a nutshell, therefore, morality is not a luxury. It is a lifeblood of civilization. It sustains peace, justice, and humanity, or rather human dignity. Without morality, no account of technology, wealth, or education can save humanity from self-destruction. The collapse of moral values is the collapse of the society itself. From parents to schools, from churches to media, from local communities to governments, every institution must rise to the call of moral renewal. The young must be guided not just to be successful, but to be good, not just to be intelligent, but to be wise, not just to live, but to live rightly. As humanity stands at the crossroads of modernity and morality, the choice we make today will determine the kind of world we bequeath tomorrow. Let us therefore uphold morality as our sacred inheritance, a torch to be guarded, nurtured, and passed on to the next generation. For when morality lives, humanity thrives. But when morality dies, even civilization itself becomes meaningless.